Everything you have been told about achieving success is a complete scam. They tell you to grind until your eyes bleed. They tell you to hustle 24/7. They tell you that if something isn't working, you just need to push harder, force it, and batter down the door through sheer, exhausting willpower. Stop. Stop listening to the hyper-caffeinated hustle gurus who are selling you a one-way ticket to a nervous breakdown. Stop treating your life like a war zone where every single goal must be conquered by force. Because their advice is poisoning your potential. It is the exact reason you feel so completely burned out, and it is the exact reason you are still not where you want to be. Think about how you operate right now. You set a goal. A business, a relationship, a new habit. And the moment you hit resistance, you panic. You grip the steering wheel tighter. You double down on your effort. You sacrifice your sleep, your peace of mind, and your sanity trying to bend reality to your will. You know this exhausting cycle. The late night staring at a screen, trying to force a breakthrough that refuses to come. The desperate texts you send when you feel someone pulling away. The suffocating weight in your chest when you realize that no matter how hard you push, the boulder just keeps rolling back down the hill. You feel depleted. You feel like you are running a marathon in waist-deep mud. You feel like you are constantly fighting the current, and you are terrified that if you stop swimming for even 1 second, you will drown. Modern self-help looks at your exhaustion and tells you that you just aren't motivated enough. It tells you to watch another motivational video. It tells you to wake up at 4 a.m. and scream affirmations in the mirror. What a pathetic, disempowering delusion. This delusion convinces you that success is purely a matter of friction. It convinces you that if it doesn't hurt, you aren't trying. But look closely at the people who actually operate at the highest levels. They do not look like they are struggling. They operate with a quiet, lethal smoothness. When you finally realize that friction is not a badge of honor, but a signal that you are doing it wrong, everything changes. When you stop trying to force the lock and learn how to pick it, you become unstoppable. If you are ready to drop the exhausting hustle and forge a mind that achieves massive results with zero resistance, hit that subscribe button right now. We are building a generation of strategic operators, and we need your focus on the inside. Let's talk about men who understood the true nature of power. Let's talk about the Stoics. Let's talk about Epictetus, a man who possessed absolutely nothing, yet commanded the respect of emperors. Did he run around frantically trying to force people to listen to him? Did he try to aggressively manipulate his circumstances? No. He said, "Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to, rather, wish that what happens happen the way it happens, then you will be happy." Let's talk about Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world. He wrote about acting like a Roman, doing what is in front of you with absolute focus, but without desperately clinging to the outcome. Did the Stoics believe in being passive? Did they believe in laziness? Absolutely not. They were generals, emperors, and profound thinkers. They took massive action. But they understood the ultimate cheat code to reality. They understood the concept of amor fati, a love of fate. They understood that trying to force the universe to comply with your timeline is a profound act of arrogance. And the universe always crushes arrogance. Modern society is completely addicted to force. We celebrate the grind. We worship the struggle. We are taught that if we want an apple from the tree, we should chop the tree down rather than waiting for the fruit to ripen. We are instructed to dominate our environment. The Stoics would look at our frantic struggling with deep pity. They understood the ultimate weakness of the forcing mind. They knew that force creates counterforce. They cultivated the art of aligned action. They knew that a wise man does not try to push the river. He gets in the boat, aligns his oars with the current, and steers. And they refuse to waste their energy fighting the water. This is the paradigm shift you must execute immediately. This is where you stop being a sweaty, desperate amateur and start being a cold, calculating master. You must stop treating resistance as a signal to push harder. Start treating it as a signal to step back and observe. Who are you? Are you a blunt instrument, repeatedly smashing your head against a brick wall because you refuse to look for the door? Or are you water, effortlessly finding the path of least resistance and cutting through solid rock over time? The Stoic secret of effortless success is not about giving up. Do not confuse what I am saying with apathy or laziness. Apathy is the excuse of the coward. Effortless action is the architecture of the elite. It is about an absolute withdrawal of desperation. It is about looking at the obstacle coldly and deciding, I will move around this, not through it. True invincibility is about alignment. It is aligning yourself with the absolute reality that you control your input, but nature controls the timeline. That your success is not determined by how hard you sweat, but by how intelligently you apply pressure. That whether the goal is achieved today or in 10 years, your internal citadel remains utterly unbothered. So how do you actually forge this discipline? How do you train your mind to stop forcing and start flowing? It requires ruthlessly implementing the laws of aligned action. First, you must murder the timeline. Your desperation comes from the clock. You want the promotion by Friday. You want the relationship to be perfect by next month. You are imposing an artificial, ego-driven schedule on reality. Reality does not care about your schedule. When you force a timeline, you make stupid mistakes. You act needy. You cut corners. You ruin the very thing you are trying to build. You must kill the deadline in your mind. Commit to the daily action. Commit to the process. And completely, radically accept that it will take exactly as long as it takes. When you remove the deadline, the frantic energy evaporates. You stop rushing. You start executing with lethal precision. You achieve the goal faster precisely because you stopped being in a hurry. Second, you must practice strategic retreat. When you hit a massive roadblock, your instinct is to double your effort. You hammer away at the problem until you are exhausted and angry. This is exactly what the amateur does. The master steps back. When you encounter severe friction, stop. Withdraw your energy completely. Sleep on it. Walk away for a week. Often, the problem isn't the obstacle, the problem is your perspective. By backing away, you stop feeding the resistance. You allow the situation to breathe. And almost always, when you return, the angle of attack becomes obvious. You do not win by bleeding on the wall. You win by finding the ladder. Third, you must master the "let them" protocol. You exhaust yourself trying to force people to behave the way you want. You try to force a client to buy. You try to force a partner to change. You try to force a friend to understand. It never works. It only breeds resentment. You must become deeply comfortable with "let them." If a client hesitates, let them. If someone wants to walk away, let them. If people misunderstand your intentions, let them. You state your terms. You present your value. You hold your standard. And then you offer zero resistance to their choice. This lack of force is incredibly magnetic. People are used to being chased, manipulated, and convinced. When you present absolute, calm detachment, you instantly become the most high-value person in the room. You do not capture a butterfly by wildly swinging a net. You build a beautiful garden, and you let it come to you. Fourth, you must pivot to the open door. You get obsessed with a specific path. You decide you must get this specific job, or marry this specific person, or succeed in this specific way. And when that path is blocked, you refuse to pivot. You spend years kicking a dead horse. The Stoic understands that the universe is highly efficient. A closed door is not a punishment, it is information. It is reality telling you, not this way. Stop bruising your shoulder against the closed door. Look around. There is always an open window. Your rigid attachment to how it must happen is preventing it from happening at all. Be utterly ruthless about your ultimate goal, but completely flexible about the method used to achieve it. If the front door is locked, go through the back. If the back is locked, climb the roof. Do not force the lock. Change the approach. Fifth, you must execute the daily minimums perfectly. Effortless success does not mean zero effort. It means highly concentrated, highly consistent effort without the emotional drama. You burn out because your effort is erratic. You do nothing for 3 days, then panic and work for 20 hours straight. You must establish the non-negotiables. What are the 3 things you must do every single day to move forward? Identify them. Execute them flawlessly. And then, stop. Do the workout. Write the pages. Make the calls. Once the daily minimum is met, you must practice the discipline of turning off. You walk away. You refuse to obsess. You trust that the compounding interest of consistent, daily action is infinitely more powerful than occasional, frantic bursts of forced effort. You build the empire brick by brick, without ever breaking a sweat. You have been fighting a completely unnecessary war. You have been exhausting yourself trying to bend the laws of nature to your will. You have been trading your precious peace of mind for the illusion of control. It is time to drop the hammer. It is time to stop pushing the river. You cannot control the timeline. You cannot control other people. You cannot control the obstacles that will inevitably arise. But you have absolute, dictatorial control over how you navigate them. You can cultivate a mind so strategic, so aligned, so utterly detached from desperation, that success becomes inevitable. Let the hustlers continue to grind themselves into dust. Let them exhaust themselves forcing outcomes they cannot sustain. Let them consume endless content about how to magically manifest success through sheer panic. You are walking away from the noise. You are stepping into the quiet reality of the Stoics. You are choosing the path of absolute strategic alignment. Build the systems. Execute the daily actions. Remain utterly detached from the timeline. Do the work. Forge the mind. Stand firm. And when the obstacle appears, do not force it. Do not panic. Do not bleed. Flow around it. The world yields to the man who refuses to push. Retreat into the citadel. Let the river carry you forward.